Hello and welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Beyond the Summit presentation of the Redbull Battlegrounds American pre-qualifier here, and it is going to be Root Gaming versus Wheel Wreck while whistling. Nice alliteration there. We're going to be seeing these two teams face off in the second game of this best of three series. Unfortunately, we weren't able to catch the first game, essentially overlapping with a simultaneous stream that I had to cover here as part of my 12-hour casting marathon. But happy to be having you guys here with us today to bring you guys some North American Dota action. And I'm not going at it alone. I myself am Blaze, but I'm going to be joined here by my good friend Skim Gaming. How's it going, man?
Hey man, looking forward to this. I love me some North American Dota, and two teams maybe not at the top of the NA scene, but I argue that they're, they're in this up and coming field. They wanna punch their ticket towards a possibly, sort of like third NA powerhouse. So, looking forward to this.
Yeah, most definitely. So we're going to be seeing the opener here, Troll Warlord. Who would have guessed it? Making it through the banning phase and right into the first pick hands of Root. It's worth noting, of course, that Root were the ones to take the first game that we didn't manage to get on stream for you guys, but that was a pretty awesome 45-ish minute slugfest, and in the end, just the Roche control was the big thing for Root Gaming, I think. I was catching up on dinner while enjoying that game, but yeah, it was mostly just the dire side taking Roche over and over and over again. They put a lot of emphasis there, and they're able to close it out nicely. So we'll see here. They don't have TC on this roster right now. Generally speaking, he's playing with them on Root, but Ewo is standing in. Obviously, a lot of you guys will know him from Not Today, but anyways, yeah, he's standing in, and hopefully communication issues aren't too much trouble for him. Anyways, yeah, and he was playing safe lane most recently. Anyways, so they go with the dual, well, one's a troll, one's a Noglotti, and they look pretty similar either way, but it's the troll disruptor. A lot of positioning control here just with the disruptor's glimpse, kinetic field, and it's kind of interesting to see it picked up so quickly. I mean, it's not exactly a counter to the Axe, who blinks calls, and even if you get the send back, he still is affecting you with the taunt for that full 3-second duration. You just walk towards where he came from, which can be even worse in some situations, even if you're not eating counter helix. So yeah, they'll have to make the disruptor work, but I'm sure Fluff knows what he's doing, knows what he wants out of this draft, and what's going to work the best against Wheel. In the meantime, it could be Relic picking up the Lina mid. The Axe, the offlane, would probably be in the hands of Ike's Mike.
Yeah, I think Lina mid is pretty standard these days, although we have seen ESG run it as a second support once again to quite success as well, although I guess Aoi was more of a core than a support with his Lina, farming up quite a lot and making sure that he creates a lot of space on his own, actually. And I like this early Axe Lina pickup as well, because you have a lot of pickoff potential. I mean, bursting down the Troll Warlord before you can, before he unravels his strength is actually quite key in a lot of games. So I like this early pickup as well. And Root Gaming taking out Earthshaker and Juggernaut, and Wheel taking out the TA.
Yeah, I mean, just Burst in general is going to give Troll a little bit of difficulty. He wants the fight to extend a little bit there. Obviously, he can deal with physical damage output through Whirling Axe's melee. But if you add in Lina, maybe a Lion Finger, stuff like that, he'll go down quickly. And pre-BKB, he has a lot of issues. And the great thing about Lina is she doesn't taper then. She picks up the Aghanim Scepter, and she still punches right through against the Troll. And it might force you into like defensive Lincoln Sphere pickups and stuff like that. Just it's not ideal. It's a little bit awkward. And yeah, in general, like, it's just Troll, he usually dominates. He usually just goes for big, hard-hitting items, lifesteal Scotty, and just kind of carries his way to victory through primarily objectives. But when the Lina guns down your health like that, you might have to fall back on some more reserved builds. But anyways, the follow-up pickup, after we see the Chen banned out against Fluff and stuff, is that they're going to have the Witch Doctor supporting on the side of Wheel, and Phoenix as a kind of enigmatic pick on Root Gaming. Could be played in a couple different capacities.
Yeah, we've seen a lot of Phoenix offlane from Cloud9, for example, but a lot of teams also run it as a support. I think it's better on the offlane. I think it's a bit of a greedy support, and it's just, I think if you pick up an early Midas almost, the Phoenix just offers much more than it does on a support sort of like position, and we'll answer with the Luna pickup.
Oh, that's interesting. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of...
get to see it a lot.
Yeah, there's a lot of strength in their jungle engagements right now. Like, the ability to do a lot of damage with the Eclipse, with the Paralyzing Cask bouncing back and forth between just heroes and no lane creeps. I mean, there's a lot of strength to that. I honestly think that Root are going to be a little bit worried about moving around in their jungle or even trying to contest the enemies just because of how strong Wheel will be able to fight when there aren't any creeps involved. And if they're right on top of the creep wave, honestly, they're not that great off either, just because the Axe can jump and get those extra spins out, which might be the difference between life and death for someone. So, in general, Wheel just can take the fights on multiple battlefronts, and Root, the one thing they have really going for them is their combo between the Disruptor Phoenix. Kinetic Field can actually set up Supernova nicely for the most part. I mean, Witch Doctor has pretty good range, Lina has an insanely good range, but if you place a perfect kinetic field, they'll still be within the Supernova, but outside of the egg's range, and that way you can't bring it down easily. In the meantime, they're going to be picking up the Shadow Fiend here, and this means it's probably going to be an offlane Phoenix. They can pick up a different support 4 or 5 position is kind of available if Disruptor is flexible, and as such, they have some 2 really good cores in the Troll SF, and they could even just go for something like a Treant Protector for their last support, and that would work out perfectly fine.
Yeah, it has a lot of synergy as well, and it just makes sure that you can protect the SF. Like, if you run an SF mid, you kind of at least want one support that's able to babysit him, either by rotation or by some sort of other capacity, but just being able to have a lot of presence. Like, the Treant obviously offers the armor. You could also, well, if it hadn't been banned out, I think something like an Earthshaker is pretty good as well, just to make sure that if the Shadow Fiend does get engaged upon, you have that Fisher's block people off. And Wheel recognizes that potential, ban out the Treant, makes a lot of sense. Treant Phoenix is a very nasty combo that you don't want to play against. Overgrowth into the Supernova is just really it's not great. It's actually quite disgusting.
Yep, so good ban, and like you mentioned, the Earthshaker's banned out. That could fill a similar role, so curious what defensive support they pick up to go with the Disruptor in terms of ganking and zoning, but also make their team fight work for them and keep the SF secure. And we'll have to see. I mean, right now you don't really have any easy outlets towards heroes that can guaranteed cancel the Witch Doctor's channels while also surviving long enough against all these nukes. You don't want to be feeding the Axe and the Lina too hard, but in the end, you're going to have to pick up somebody relatively squishy. Maybe you could go for like a Rubik and just steal those spells back. I mean, there are a lot of good skills to steal here, and of course the quick lift on Axe could cause him some issues in his initiation.
Yeah, I thought about a Rubik as well. As I said, a lot of good spells to steal, easy spells to steal as well. Witch Doctor Ultimate, for example. Lunar Eclipse is also fairly easy to steal. So it would make sense, but Rubik has kind of fallen out of favor just because I feel like he doesn't really offer too much in the beginning. Yeah, sure, the lift is nice, but he's very slow. It's very hard to gank with him if you don't really have any sort of like super strong synergy. And Rubik and Disruptor don't really have some great synergy. It's in fact, it's a very passive support duo, I'd say. So I'm not sure if Rubik is something they want to look towards, but you never know. It depends also on what Wheel is going to pick up. If they're going to pick up another hero that offers a lot of team fight potential, technically they could still go for something like a Magnus, put the lean on support after all. Oh, they go for the Ogre Magi.
Interesting. So just somebody that can kind of bruise on the front lines. He's able to even offer the Axe the option of dual laning so that they could go ahead and equally get some good experience and bully back their opposition a little bit. The Disruptor is really good at zoning out one person, but more than one, and he's going to be the one that's on the defensive and just trying to stay back as the best he can. So Ogre also gives you the Bloodlust, which will help out the Lina and the Luna considerably in their right-click damage output. And, of course, you have the burst potential with that multicast just to take down the Troll really quickly if he goes for too many items before BKB. Like, inevitably the BKB will come out for the Troll, but sometimes you try to go 2 or 3 items and it takes too long. So we aren't going to be seeing a very defensive support like what we were talking about. We're going to be seeing the Skywrath Mage, which kind of has a middle ground. I mean, his silence is really good to react to such bad situations, but he himself is very squishy, and that causes a lot of issues. Still, Fluff and Stuff feels confident that he'll be able to do enough work with this, and that kind of finalizes the lanes pretty clearly here. I mean, Ix Mike is, of course, taking that Axe. Relic is taking the Lina to the mid. Sleazel's carrying on the Luna. Goody is going to be supporting on your Ogre Magi. And then, of course, the Witch Doctor is the other support there. So, Skywrath for Fluff and Stuff. Monkeys Forever running the Shadow Fiend mid. Ewo on the safe lane Troll. Guanzo on the off lane Phoenix. And Jason on your Disruptor. Jason's been doing some really good work, by the way. Like, I've only seen him a handful of times, but every single time he really seems to be making things happen, and I'm liking this support duo between him and Fluff and stuff more and more, so hopefully we get to see a lot of that. But for now, we're just going to be seeing movement towards that top lane. Everybody on wheel kind of crowding around, looking for an opportunity to ward things up, and obviously that's just scout out Root's movement early game a little bit easier and maybe press their advantage.
Yeah, I think it's unlikely that we're going to see some sort of aggressive trail lane or any aggressive laning. If anything, like you said, maybe a dual lane, because Axe and Ogre do have a lot of sustain. Ogre, of course, with a lot of health and a lot of base region as well. So, I don't see an aggressive trail lane coming out here. I think what Wheel wants to do is just make sure that this Luna gets some farm, because if you have a farmed Luna, and just looking at this lineup, like, they buff the Luna up with a Bloodlust, you can just mount on towers no matter what, and they have a lot of pushing potential as well with the healing coming out from the Witch Doctor as well. So yeah, just make sure that this Luna gets some farm. X-Mike is just going to create a lot of space, I think. It's going to be up on him to make sure that his team has a lot of space and time to secure Luna some... Actually, Luna is positioning herself aggressively, so never mind.
I mean, definitely possible to go for the aggressive stance here. If X-Mike feels more comfortable in the safe lane, he can obviously find more security there, and he can also dip into the jungle every once in a while to find some good farm that way. So just kind of taking in the easy camp whenever convenient, but Fluff is going to be blocking that off. So whether for support pulls or X-Mike's intentions, it's not going to be available. And it is going to be that very aggressive stance. They'll see the Luna up top, and when they do, they're going to be like, I smell something fishy here. The supports are going to be involved. But the smoke gank comes through. Shadow Fiend doesn't see it coming just yet, and they're already in range for the cask and ignite. Monkeys Forever going to be comping some damage, but Lina getting in range for the LSA is key. It will just send in the Dragon Slave, and that's enough. That is actually going to be even a longer range way of dealing with that gank, and 3v1, they take down the SF early, so very nice. It doesn't delay his bottle too much, and his, 2 TP scrolls, Guanzo and Jason both buying them for his allies, so there you go. But either way, he's back on the lane. Didn't even wait the 15 gold for his bottle. He's just like, nope, gotta get back out, gotta get the level 2. And in the meantime, up top, that is going to be a dual lane of a different sort, at least for the moment. We'll see the Ogre rejoining his allies shortly, but for now it's just Witch Doctor and Luna up top.
Yep, I like this early aggression coming out from Wheel. I think they realized the potential they had, and actually the lack of potential from Root support early on. I mean, sure, you have a Disruptor who's a very good defensive support, but Disruptor and Skywrath early on, especially on level 1, don't offer too much. So I like this early aggression coming out from them. The aggressive trail lane, I didn't expect it, but it's working out for them right now. Root, they're trading, of course. They don't really get too much out of this troll, but they're securing the Phoenix some farm. And look at this. Fluff is just making sure that X-Mike, if he's getting some farm, Fluff is at least getting a bit out of it as well.
Yeah, I mean, Mike's essentially, if you look at the creep equilibrium down bottom, yeah, Fluff just says, okay, you're not going to go to that lane, you're just going to get zoned out, nuked down by that, and he actually steals a last hit here. Oh, former allies now at odds with one another, and that's got to be some really satisfying last hitting coming in from the Skywrath there. But yeah, X-Mike, he loses half his experience, he loses a few last hits, and he just clearly doesn't feel like he's going to get much out of bottom, or that's where he'd be.
Fluff has a haste. This could be devastating for Mike.
Oh, it is. It is. Yeah, he's gone. He can neutral deny, and that's it. And he's not even turning back around. He's going to go down quickly, and that's going to be the kill. So they might try to rotate back around, getting the cast out on Fluff. That'd be great. Courier. Oh, my goodness. If Fluff knew about the Courier, that would be really bad. But it's going to be body blocks now. Oh, the cask bouncing to the neutrals. Now the LSA, and that's the return kill. So 2 for 1 in favor of Wheel in total. But yeah, a little bit awkward for Mike, who's now going to make his way back down bottom.
Still very much worth it for Fluff. That was some smart play from him, and I mean, you just rotated a support like Derp. He TP'd in. Lina had to deviate from her own lane, and Fluff, you know, he's just like, yeah, I got a kill. He even farmed the creeps. That's how aggressive he was. And now he's just rotating to his top lane, where Io, he's getting engaged upon, but he should be fine. Yeah,
I might try to turn it around too. The Lucent Beam keeps him pretty low though, and at the long range auto attack, the last arcane, but will the heal be enough? No, Derp doesn't have enough time. And the magical damage from Fluff is sufficient, just with 1 point in arcanes, no null tally or anything. Goody's been hiding out here. I thought he was going to go for a courier snipe, but it looks like he's just trying to set up for some good damage against an opponent. He'll brawl with the Disruptor a little bit, who's not really going to bother with any like glimpse play against him just yet. And it's actually going to be Jason dropping really low here. If there was an Orb of Venom Ogre, that would be the death of Disruptor, but instead he gets glimpse back. And Goody, such hubris. He just feeds away the Shadow Fiend and only gets a health bar away from the Disruptor. Like, that just seems completely unnecessary.
I like this from Root. They're playing very calm and composed. Like, usually when you see your SF getting ganked early on, when you see an aggressive trial lane, maybe there's a bit of like this moment where you're like, okay guys, we have to react to this. But Root, they were really calm and collected. They were like, okay guys, this is actually working out for us. We're just gonna make sure that this Phoenix has a good start. Troll can suffer a bit. He can always fall back into the jungle at some point. Just make sure that we shut down everybody else, and they did. And this SF is actually doing quite well for himself, even though he got killed for the first blood.
Yeah, so Ike's Mike is going to try to duel it out with Guanzo a little bit, but now Guanzo goes for the Icarus dive. Mike taking too much damage over time, and he will just be killed solo. Tries to man up 1v1, but Guanzo's got a massive level advantage, and he makes it even more. Over towards the top lane, we do see stuns connecting out onto Iwo. No neutrals to bounce the cast to, and he just gets whirling axes on everybody here. That's 2 points in it, so a pretty long duration on that blind effect, but yeah, they're not going to catch anybody out in return, although the Skywrath would love to.
Yeah, and this is actually really, really bad for Wheel right now, because if they do something like this, ideally they get a kill out of this, because they're committing 3 heroes for it. Luna's not farming in the meantime, and they're not helping out the other lanes. So if you don't even get the kill on the troll, you're basically, yeah, you're almost wasting your time.
So right now they're just playing passively here. They thought that they'd take out an observer ward in this kind of position here that might be underneath the tower, but it's actually here blocking off the camp. So wasted sentries, just difficult for them to hold defensively when tower dives are obviously on Wheel's mind. But at least for now, Sleazel's just getting levels. He's level 5, and that's more than Mike can say. He's the solo laner, but he is having a really hard time getting off his feet.
I mean, Fluff is the same level as Mike.
Oh, nice cast bouncing back and forth here, hitting on both of them. Jason's going down for sure. And Iwo, he wants to go, but he's up against 3. It's just too much. Now, Fluff, Mike, crossing paths once again, but he doesn't go for the concussive shot just yet here. No real opportunity for the SF to get involved, so he'll just pat Mike on the back and send him on his way.
And this has got to be so annoying for this Axe.
Looks like we have some small connection issues between Skim and I here, and hopefully we can deal with those really quickly. But otherwise, yeah, we're going in and seeing here. Tranquil Boots finally coming out for Ike's Mike, helping him out a lot as far as just being able to deal with all the harassment coming in from Fluff and stuff. Now he has a renewable health pool, and plus mana pool maybe not so much. And so that's really nice for them. Up top, we have Ewo once again, and he's just going to be around a holding position. They might be able to find an opportunity here. We've got the Skywrath rotating in, trying to find a slow here, but he's going to get caught out. Lots of stuns headed his way, and the cask could be so strong here, but they do get the silence out onto Derp Derp. The cask is delayed, but in the end, it still is going to be the death of the Skywrath. Now in pursuit of Derp Derp, he's out of mana, soon to be out of life, and Ewo gets the slow into Sleazel. So Sleazel is going to go down as well, and that is a huge pickup for them. Great rotation from Guanzo, turning it 2 for 1, but most importantly, bringing that Luna down.
Yeah, and with that, he just secures himself a Midas. He's 7-min Midas on an offlane Phoenix.
Yeah.
Who also has Tranquil Boots. So this is huge for them. And look at the net worth. I mean, sure, Lina's leading. You can't really do too much about it unless you really focus her down. But SF and Phoenix right behind her, and the Luna actually falling really far behind. So Root is playing this actually really, really well. In Wheel, I think they need some sort of recovery. I think they need a few stack camps. I think the support should just make sure that, you know, okay guys, we abandoned this top lane project and just make sure that this Luna is going to have a bit of safe farm on the bottom lane and has a few camps prepared as soon as he rotates back into the jungle.
Yep, so we'll see the smoke movement come through from Derp Derp and Goody, kind of covering up Relic as he goes for the top room. Could be a good bait against the Disruptor, but he doesn't fall for it just yet. They have vision on him, but the Phoenix is who they want. Unfortunately, the smoke breaks out, and obviously Guanzo knows how to play it safe. He's done a really good job of just timing his aggression and his passivity, and just knowing when he's allowed to engage, when it's going to be too difficult for him. And So that just allowed him to win the lane hard over Ike's Mike. I mean, the rotation top was perfect. His experience is going to get out of control very quickly, and suddenly you have 8 attacks to destroy an egg instead of 5, and that's a huge difference in the context of this game. Now getting the damage over time effects on Derp Derp. He will be stunned briefly, but Fluff goes in for the counter kill, and that's going to be an easy one. Derp Derp down once again, and 7-4 is Root's advantage. Now Hasted, Monkeys Forever looks for an opening, but as it is, they're just happy with what they're able to claim, as we'll try to make some things happen and always just fall flat.
Yeah, it's going to be up on Relic to now pull his team back into this game. He's going to have a timely Yule Scepter, and I think as soon as he has that, he has to make some movement going. He has to smoke up with his supports and just get one, even 2 pickoffs ideally. Oh, bottom lane, they're engaging up on Sleazel. Yeah,
nice damage coming out here. The Supernova and Arcane Bolt's going to be enough, but they should get the Phoenix in exchange, and that's a big kill. That's a level 9 Phoenix, turning it around. Also going to look for Fluff and stuff here. It's almost worth it just because the Luna's so core to Wheel's strategy, but in the end, the golden experience going away favors Wheel significantly.
Yeah, as you said, there was a level 9 Phoenix and a killing spree for the Witch Doctor as well, and suddenly Derp Derp, I think he bought boots with that. I'm not sure if he
he got 400 plus gold, so he definitely had to buy the boots in order for those numbers to make sense. And over on the courier, of course, we've got some great items for Relic. He's working on that Eula Scepter, and he's going to have it pretty soon.
Yep. So a bit of an overextension from Fluff and from Guanzo. I mean, if you see a Luna like this, you kind of always want to go for it if you know you get the kill, but in an ideal setting, they have a bit more vision behind the Luna to make sure that, okay, there's actually no way they can get that, any sort of retaliation going. But looking at the vision, they actually only have 1 ward up, and that's on the top lane. It's a good ward for sure, but you know, for aggressive plays like that on the bottom lane, ideally you have a bit more vision on the map.
Yep. And meanwhile, of course, Wheel, they've got a couple of good ones up, especially this top rune one. Very commonly dewarded, but in this case, it stood for half its duration, and it's giving a lot of intel into the Dire jungle, which Root are going to emphasize more and more as the SF looks to rotate. He is going to have some mana issues here, though. He doesn't get to just farm readily with raises, because he did go for this mechanism build, and while it's perfectly viable for him to do so if he toggles his int treads for his mech usage and perhaps his spells, it's going to be difficult for him to actually farm with those abilities, and he's going to have to pretty much hold his mana in reserve.
Wheel, I like this what they're doing right now. I mean, look at this. They're stacking 3 camps at the same time. They really need to catch up on farm. They know that they're falling behind quite a bit, and then now they're just making sure that X-Mike and Luna just, you know, they get back into this game financially speaking. And with this camp, I think X-Mike should have his Blink Dagger, and as soon as he has that, Luna also has her Yules, I believe. Yes, Yules and Face Boots coming out. A very crucial timing for them now to just make something happen on the map.
Yep, so, I mean, right now, obviously, Root have been able to get quite a bit just out of the Midas alone. Eula Scepter is going to be the item of choice for Phoenix after the fact, and it makes it very hard for him to actually die. Like, even if the Lena finds a combo on him where she can go for the Yules into Light Strike Ray, if he sees the animation follow through, he just self-Yules immediately, and he'll dodge it out that way. So, it's a really good way to react to the Lena, and of course, you can also avoid things like the Eclipse as well. So it's got to be Will to focus hard lockdown on this Phoenix from 100 to 0, or he's just going to go ahead and pop that Supernova, which again is soon will be at level 2.
Yep. They'll have to be very careful in the next, I want to say, 5 minutes as well. If you look at the Dire lineup, they have a pretty good Roche lineup. And now that Troll Warlord has had a bit of time farming by himself, he's working towards that Helm of the Dominator, and as soon as he has that, they can almost enter the Roche pit. Obviously, you need to hit a good timing. You want to make sure that the map control is in your favor, and that the lanes are pushed out and stuff like that. But just in general, we'll have to be really careful of that troll. I mean, it's a troll. He just does troll things, you know. So yeah. just doing Roche casually, taking ages, you know.
Mm-hmm. So, what do you think about the Dominator build-up from Sleazel? Opening up with the Helm of the Dominator gets him some valuable armor, some decent damage, lifesteal, but the big thing for it is that he's going to be able to stack his Ancients. Get those built up so that he can increase his GPM a lot. But the thing is, he doesn't have a single point of Moonglaves. It doesn't look like Mike's anywhere near the Blink plus Vanguard, so stacking Ancients doesn't seem all that valuable to them, and in fact, Root could steal those pretty easily if they get the right wards up. Do you think that the Helm of the Dominator is going to be generating farm for them, or is it just going to be setting a trap that they can't really manage for a time?
No, I think it's good. I mean, sure, right now it doesn't look too good for him, considering he doesn't have a point in Moonglaive. But at the same time, he doesn't even have the Helm of the Dominator just yet. So I think working towards it is a good idea. He needs it to catch up on farm, honestly. I mean, if you think about it, Sleazel probably shouldn't be involved in too many team fights from here on out until he has some decent items. And to get to that point, he needs the Helm of the Dominator to carry him through that jungle, through those ancient stacks, and yeah. I don't really think he can catch up on farm on Luna without it, though.
Here we go. Into the pit goes Ewo. Where do the others go? It is going to be what I was hoping. We're going to see simultaneously a gank and a Roche attempt at the exact same time. If they find an opportunity, they'll just go ahead. Guanzo and Fluff will kill somebody off, and in the meantime, these three will stick around in the pit. So they have a ward up, but seeing that ward placed under sentry, they know about it, and they're going to go right into the pit. Call comes out on Jason. Won't even get a spell off, I don't believe. Dunked immediately, and now Ewo's on the run. He's trying to get out of there. The self-fuels for it's a offensive fuels against Monkeys Forever. In the end, the Witch Doctor falls without casting anything, and now Mike is uncertain. He's going to disengage and try to re-engage with the Blink, but look at Relic dropping the ultimate onto Monkeys Forever. He's gone, and the Eclipse connects on the Troll. He loses vision. They end up losing the axe as well. Guanzo picks him up on the backside, but now it's an immediate interrupt with the Icarus dive, and Guanzo goes down. Another huge kill. They not only don't get the Roche, but it's contested directly 2 for 2, and those are 2 cores on the side of Root. Oh, now they check the Roche HP. See, about 3,300. Know that it's something that they have to keep an eye on, but probably something they can't hold for the moment. Or will they? They'll try to go? This seems so dangerous. Kinetic Field scouts things out, but they're going to go, and Fluff just going to check it out manually himself. Oh, the Yule's LSA connects, and down goes your Skywrath Mage. Now the Observer Ward, seeing Jason on the high ground, but to engage in this pit, it almost seems impossible now that they've lost their Skywrath. So Roche dropping low, 1,500, and it looks like that's going to go the way of Wheel, jumping in, getting the Death Ward plus the call onto the Disruptor, and that is going to be the Aegis on the Luna. So huge jump up in their potential there. And the biggest thing about it was the pretty much Root showing their hand by placing an Observer Ward. It seems like that's never an issue, but when you have an Observer and a Sentry combo together, they'll see that pop up and they'll know that that's a smoke. So in that case, they knew exactly what was going on, jump in, and clean house.
Yeah, whoever paid attention to that ward being placed, he probably just pulled his team back into the game. That was some smart movement from Wheel coming out, but at the same time, it was also a huge misplay from Root to not either disengage earlier or, well, Guanzo also misplayed really huge. He dove into the fight and egged outside of the fight. I think he hit this timing very, very wrong. He used his Supernova very much at the edge of the fight. Nobody was affected by it at all, and he couldn't help his teammates from there, and he didn't even dive back in because he wanted to play it safe, and then, yeah, as he caught it with the camera, his dive got interrupted mid-air, so Wheel pulled themselves back into the game, and just looking at the net worth, I mean, Luna being able to participate in this fight, get a few kills, get the Roshan kill as well. Well, at least she got the Aegis. But yeah, with this, Luna's gonna pick up very quickly. 2 points in the glaives now. Has the Helm of the Dominator, has even the Yasha recipe up, and they're looking to push now with this lineup.
Yeah, I mean, they got the ice armor from the Ogre Frost Mage, so essentially Sleazel is just all the more tanky thanks to the Dominator plus ice armor, and going right in. Ike's Mike, pretty far, pretty deep. Guanzo going in, will pop the egg in a great position while Derp has to disengage with the Death Ward. Now the Aegis on Luna pops. The Troll Warlord caught up in the air, comboed up, nice damage into Ewo, but Sleazel's faring the same. He gets nuked down as well. Monkeys Forever will fall, and a blink forward from Relic, going in for the jugular, trying to finish Fluff, but the Dragon Slave does not connect. So Relic now in an awkward position. Courier is his target, and he gets it with the Fiery Soul Bloodlust right clicks. Just plays into that thing, and now the tier 1 tower's going down. This is... oh, okay, whatever, but... in the end, yeah, it's still a great fight for Wheel because they get the tower, and it's just fights that I don't know if Root can really take at this point in time. The Static Storm was okay, but it wasn't great against Mike's jump, and yeah, all they really benefit from that is the Aegis of the Immortal going down.
Yeah, I think against this sort of lineup from Wheel, I don't think they can afford to drop the Static Storm just on an axe. Honestly, you need to catch at least the Ogre and the Witch Doctor in it. And the Witch Doctor, sure, he cancelled his ultimate pretty quickly himself, but he's still got a decent amount of damage out. And yeah, as you said, Wheel got a really, really good trade out of this. Sure, they lost the Luna, but they got the Troll, they got the SF, and they got the Tower. And they got the Courier, which has actually the Yule's recipe on it. So Phoenix is going to have to wait 2 minutes for his Yule's.
That's unfortunate, very much so. And another big aspect of this draft that we really didn't get to talk about, but going the Phoenix against a draft that has a bloodlusted Lina can cause some real difficulties for you. Like, you always want to put the Supernova in a position where we won't go down. At worst, it goes down to like one hit from death and then it pops. That's the ideal Phoenix egg for you. But in this situation, the further in you put it, the more likely Lina's just going to be able to right-click it down. The Ogre, look at his skill build. He's actually going 1-4-4. He's going to be maxing his Bloodlust and just leaving 1 point in Fire Blast, which is still going to have that same stun. The multicast nuke is not really going to work out for them. It's not going to be nearly as strong, but everything else is amazing. And there we go, the multicast sending out 2 ignites, and Jason completely whipping that ultimate.
But quite frankly, he had to kind of scare them away.
You don't think the kinetic field would have cut it?
I mean, they didn't really have vision on the Lina, so for all he couldn't have known that the Lina wasn't there. If the Lina had been there, she would have been able to blink Yules. So I think it was a safe bet to just, make sure that they don't invade them. I'd rather do this than, yeah, sure, it's a tough call, of course. But at the same time, it's just, quote-unquote, it's just a Static Storm. It has a pretty low cooldown compared to other spells, so I think it's okay. Unfortunately, they have to concede the tower for this, but I'm not even sure if they would have been able to, or if they should have contested the tower even with the Static Storm. I think it's just smarter for them to just split across the map and farm up and split push a bit with Iwo, for example, on the bottom lane.
Yeah, so he'll be able to do some good damage to this tier 1 tower. Battle Trance up, Fervor stacking. And yeah, it looks like it's just going to be a 5-second fortification delay. They don't even bother popping it. So up top, this is where the pressure's coming in. Courier bringing in most of the Manta, but Sleazel just going in and clearing out the waves.
And once again, they're knocking on the door. But this time, Root wants to answer. Very risky though, because Monkey's Forever, he doesn't have any mana almost. He can't even use the mech if he wants. He can't use anything, quite frankly. I'm not sure if they should fight this.
Well, they almost have the Requiem here, but not from Invis. They have to pop the bottle charge just to get involved. And Sleazel, he's already got the Eclipse, looking at the jump in. Great Death Ward coming out. Monkeys Forever will unload onto Sleazel, but they get everything else perfectly. In fact, they even kill the Phoenix, just gunning him down. Luna stands her ground, and they make it a 4-for-2. A hell of a fight from Wheel as they just land everything perfectly. The Luna did have to kind of die for it, as she is the squishy one on the front line, but man, they make it worth it. They get so many clutch kills. I believe they last hit the tower, and yeah, they was killed by the Radiant, and Wheel just really making sure that each and every one of these trades are favorable. Lina, suddenly Aghanim Scepter. Oh my gosh, 6-0 and 5, 140 CS, and all that juicy tower gold.
Yeah. Iowa wasn't even part of that fight. He didn't even have a TP to be part of that fight, and again, I don't think Root should have taken that fight. SF was in a pretty horrible position in terms of, like, he didn't have any mana. They had to make sure that he got mana first before he was actually doing anything. And, I mean, the egg is cool and all, but if everybody else is dead, everybody can also focus the egg then, and it was pretty useless, in fact, so... I think Root should just not take these sort of team fights and just spread across the map and just make sure that they get good split push out of this, because... quite frankly, they're going to lose every team fight from here on out if they keep doing this.
Well, one nice thing they did get out of it is a BKB on the SF. So although he doesn't have the Yules to make it a one-shot kill, he still can get in there and get that BKB down, and only the Berserker's Call is going to stop him from getting that Requiem off. So needs to build up to 36 souls for that to really mean something. But once he does, I still could see them taking a fight, but it's got to be with the right initiation. Guanzo has to step up his game, make sure that he just positions perfectly. And on top of that, Jason has to make sure that his kinetic static pretty much blows Wheel apart.
Speaking of blowing apart, this Lina, man, with the Aghanim Scepter.
Oh, and she just hit 16 too. 950 pure damage. Ready to roll. Let's just get a health check here. Fluff and Stuff lives from a Laguna Blade with not even 100 HP. Troll is 40 HP from being one shot. And the Disruptor is one-shottable. So, yeah, this Lina is going to give them some real issues. And we were talking about the progression for this Troll. He needs to get a BKB eventually. Not only does he not have the farm to pick it up anytime soon, but even then it'll be rendered completely useless thanks to Axe plus Lina and their ultimates.
Yeah, and if Wheel had any more aggressive wards out, I'm sure Red Lake would be all over the dire jungle. Like, he's just lusting for blood. You can just almost feel it, that he's itching, you know? He has a regen rune even, so if he goes aggressive and he gets away, he can just regen up and go back in. But looks like they're going to expect Root in front of their own tier 1. No, Root is not going in. So Wheel is probably just going to push bottom lane. Going to force a fight probably, and with that tier 2 tower, just gain a lot more map control, especially around the Roche pit, which you want to control against a Troll Warlord. And Root, be careful. That could be a blink initiation.
Yeah, Icarus Dive will pull Guanzo out, and Monkeys Forever is going to be fine, but yeah. Essentially, if you look at the Roche timer here, it's near the maximum time. We're talking 2.5 minutes into the potential 3, and they're checking it pretty early. So, not going to see that objective really on the board for a little while here, but that actually gives Root a little bit more time to get ready for that fight, and I think that's actually pretty good for them. The Skywrath gets to tank up a bit with his VIP booster. Disruptor gets to get an item beyond just boots of speed. Anything like that will definitely help them move forward this game.
Yeah, for sure, and he's doing a good job at just split pushing. Like, whenever he sees anybody on Wheels, from Wheels team, he just goes onto the other side of the map. See, he TPs to the bottom lane now, makes sure that he's never in any real danger.
Yeah, so we were talking before, Goody finding Fluff Invis. It looks like that'll just be them walking out. In fact, the Sentry Ward, he walks under it. Dire do not... Oh, they do see him now. Okay, so they know he's walking around. Although they'll hit him with the Whirling Axe, that's pretty much all that will happen. But, yeah, no, we were talking about the potential Troll Warlord BKB. Do you think you could just go Scotty here instead? I mean, there's a lot of stuns against him. Light Strike, Paralyzing Cask, the Fire Blast, and the Lucent Beam. But all in all, I almost say just start building HP, and the Eye of Scotty wouldn't be too bad here.
I think if it was any other carry, I'd almost agree, but just because it's easy to kite him around just because of all those spells you mentioned. Like, you have the slow from the Ignite, you have the Paralyzing Cask, which is really difficult to deal with in the team fights because it's super random, and it is really annoying just to play against that. I think you definitely want a BKB here.
Oh my, jumping in, getting a 3-man call! Beautiful initiation, but where's the follow-up? They use him up. The Death Ward from the low ground. Monkeys Forever dropping a huge ultimate, but a Laguna Blade right in his face. Gets chopped down. Axe traded for your SF. The Phoenix Egg doing nothing to zone them out. And now they wasted their Static Storm. They're on the run. And Roche, of course, responds right then and there. When Root can do absolutely nothing about this. And they even clear out the wards from low ground to high, thanks to the I don't know, volleyball arm of Lina hurling out these fireballs.
Yeah, and looks like they want to go in. Yeah, they have to. I don't think they can give them this Roche this easily.
Yeah, but it's such a hard engagement. Sleazel, he's got his Eclipse still, and they get the Yules on the Phoenix. He's going to feed his life away, too. They get the Roche. They did not get the Aegis. Phoenix snatched the Aegis. Oh, what a misplay.
Oh, my God.
Oh, that's so unfortunate. They'll still kill Guanzo, but that could have been a Luna's Aegis. And Luna with an Aegis is terrifying, with all the cooldowns she can pop with her second life. But no, she gets it denied from her with the Phoenix just bringing it down. That was just... I mean, it was a great offensive Yules from Phoenix, but it was also a huge misplay. Now, Skywrath in no man's land gets dunked down, and it looks like they'll go for the tier 2 tower.
I mean, yeah, they traded the Phoenix for an Aegis, but I think that's worth it, honestly. And they're going to lose a tier 2 tower out of this. It was expected, so... Huge play from them, and yeah, as I said, huge misplay as well. They were so desperate to get this on a Luna, they weren't really considering just, you know, picking it up with another hero, and... They're going to knock on this tier 3 here. Are they going to force out a buyback? Probably not. It's just 12 seconds.
Timers are pretty short here, but they're going to get a lot of damage done in the meantime. Getting up to the high ground so Relic doesn't miss. He's got his Fiery Soul stacking up, and he is rocking that double damage rune. So he and Luna doing a lot of work, and as soon as the tier 3 tower falls, the glaives start bouncing. They hit everything here, the racks, the effigies, the heroes. Guanzo going in, kinetic storm, kinetic field doing a lot, but Ix Mike with the BKB could still allow them to disengage. He gets the call, he gets the racks, and he lets everybody fall back. Monkeys Forever down to 200 HP. Relic on the run. Guanzo moving forward with the Icarus and the fire, and yeah, Relic should go down, right? There's a concussive. There's the kill. But honestly, if Mike with that BKB taunt had just moved them further into the dire base and everybody else had run, that would have been just an incredibly easy walk away for Wheel. But because they kept on trying to fight it, Luna and Lina on the low ground, they actually fed way more than they had to. I actually thought that was going to be a great time buyer for Mike with the BKB usage there, but in the end, Wheel still commit and they still lose big.
Yeah, and they actually got quite lucky. Sneasel just TP'd out in the middle of everything. Like he literally just TP'd out. Nobody noticed him basically. Nobody hit him as well. He TP'd out with like 100 HP. And at the same time, though, SF also got really lucky. I think he was one last hit or two last hits away from dying as well. Yeah,
definitely.
So, a very close engagement. Ultimately, huge play by Jason with a huge static storm. And Root, they just fought themselves back into the game. They gave away mid melee racks, but I think they're fairly okay with this, considering A, it's mid, and B, they have a troll. If they want to, they can take racks within seconds as well.
So, we're going to see here that pushing up forward, SF is at level 17 now. He's going to be going in for either the Manta or the Scotty, and just building up that HP. I think it should probably be that IF Scotty, but no, Ewo, he will be picking up the BKB, now flying out on the courier, and as we said, the most important aspect is not necessarily nullifying the damage, because Witch Doctor, Axe, Lina, they don't care, but he will be able to avoid being kited and try to stick to his target a little better.
Yep, but at the same time, Ewo hasn't really been too present in those team fights. Yeah, in the last fight for sure, but before that, he's always been, you know, this sort of like classic split pusher that, you know, just makes sure that his team gets a decent trade out of all of it, which I don't think was a bad decision. But I think now that he has a BKB, he should be present in every team fight from now on, because honestly, they need his damage output to deal with the Luna and the Lina.
Yeah. I didn't actually realize this. As I saw the Ogre building up the Aghanims, I had this question in my mind of, does Unrefined Fire Blast go with the skill level of your Fire Blast? But as it turns out, it's a completely unique skill with only one rank, and it does even more damage, the 275 damage for that 60% current mana cost. So even though his Fire Blast is only at level 2, that Unrefined is packing a whopper of a punch.
Yeah, and it's percentage based, of course, so it's actually really, really good spell to have, because you're gonna run out of mana at some point, but you can always basically rely on this Unrefined Fire Blast too.
Yeah, and then Soul Ring for your others. I mean, the Soul Ring makes it viable, 100%, and now they go in, they have full Bloodlust on everybody, the Manta will pop, and they've already taken down pretty much all mid lane, so they'll go ahead and see what they can do down bottom. Now, Guanzo's positioning is key here, where they get the Phoenix egg. They already going in, Ewo with the BKB. Tier 3's gone, and Ashleazel just walks in.
I like this. He's manning up. He knows that he can just stand here and take towers. Let them come to him.
Guanzo's the only one with buyback here. He's going to dive forward, just gets an Icarus, and now on the back end, there's the egg. We're going to have Monkeys Forever die so quickly. The Laguna Blade, it evaporates him, and now we see the Death Ward. It will be blocked by the Glimpse. Jason on the run to the southwest, and everybody else still in the base. Relic pretty low. Is going to get gunned down by the Atos Mystic Flare, but he still survives long enough. Guanzo has to buy back. No, they're just losing too much. It doesn't even matter. And Mike jumping in onto Fluff, just going and getting vengeance for that laning phase. Oh boy, Root just down 4 heroes already, and the racks are gone on the bottom lane. They're diving. They don't even care at this point. Relic jumping in, and that's going to be a kill on your Skywrath Mage. Oh boy. They could just clean out the range racks in mid and walk away with that. There are creeps in the base, or at least there's a few. But they just say, okay, bottom lane's gone, mid lane's clear, and they'll walk away with that.
I was very, very well executed from Wheel. They were really patient with everything. They were like, okay, guys, let them engage upon us, and we're just gonna, you know, react to everything. And Sleazel was very, very patient with his Eclipse as well. He used it at the very last second as soon as the Troll Warlord BKB ran out. And with that Eclipse, Troll Warlord didn't stand a chance, so... Root, this is a very tough hill to climb, to be honest. Against the Luna, against 2 lanes, being down 2 lanes, this is very rough. And he saw how quickly Luna takes down Rex. So they need a better initiation, honestly. Like right now, the initiation is spamming out a few spells with the Skyref and then diving in with the Icarus dive. That's it. That's their initiation. But they need something better. I want to say they need a blink on the troll.
I mean, that'll get them in, but the problem, I think, is that they just fall so quickly. I mean, getting caught by that Lina Laguna and getting caught by the Axe, they don't really have effective HP. And we saw it with the SF. Like, he was in for a position for a good Requiem, and then suddenly, one zap, half his health is gone, and they all right-clicked him down, even during his BKB. Like, it's just... I understand Troll Blink would give them a few openings, but I still don't think it deals with the overall fact that they don't have enough health. They could buy any tank item and probably be better off than improving their positioning in my mind, but I don't know. It's rough no matter what.
That last engagement for me was just the issue that they didn't actually nobody was able to get to that Lina in the first place. Like they couldn't if they get the jump on the Lina first, I think they just negate so much damage coming to them. They don't need to have HP if they're able to burst it down first. Oh, speaking of bursting down, Relic.
Oh, he does get a BKB out. We'll try to go swing in here, but gets taunted by Mike, and goodbye. Culling Blade finishes him off, and they even can clean this up a little bit here. They get the Yules. They get some damage, and oh, Guanzo trying to salvage the situation, but they're just getting multied down. The egg is going to go down with them, and that should be the GG.
Yep. That is a good draft from Wheel, honestly. I think they managed to draft a really solid lineup to almost deal with almost every hero, from Root. They made sure that they had a lot of burst damage against this Troll, that they have a lot of kiting potential, and then, of course, as you mentioned, the Bloodlust against the Phoenix. Was a really good draft from him.
Yeah, I love the aspect of them going for the kind of dynamic draft with the Bloodlust being a huge factor there in the fights. Essentially, like they maxed it out first, and that created some real value, obviously. And I mean, that's pretty much just what you can do in Dota, is you can make those builds dynamic. You could say, well, what would be great in this situation? Oh, well, max Bloodlust before you're level 12. Okay. Well, that sounds good to me, and it worked out really, really well for Wheel Rex. So, showing their flexibility, bringing us to the equalizer here. We have one more game in this best-of-3 series. So, going into that one, we will be seeing somebody going home sad, but it's still some great NA Dota. Thank you guys so much for tuning in here. On behalf of Beyond the Summit, happy to be able to bring you guys these games here in the Red Bull American Pre-Qualifier. And, yeah, I myself am Blaze Casting. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the commentary, and this is Skim. You can follow him at Skim Gaming, and we'll be bringing you guys game number 3 in just a couple minutes here to conclude this best of 3.